Hello everybody. You're watching Mark Shelley Aquatics and my name is Mark. And if you're not subscribed, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. My whole channel is based on keeping and breeding cherry shrimp. And I go into all the different kinds of details, everything you need to know on how to successfully keep and breed cherry shrimp. So, today's video, I have some work I need to do in my green jade shrimp tank. And they're just different color of neocaridina or cherry shrimp, and they're green. So come with me and check it out. And here is the tank before we get started on it. The thing I need to do here is, this is one of my newer tanks and we need to do something called culling, which is taking out the bad shrimp, the undesirable ones, and we put them in a Skittles tank or a cull tank. And so this is what we're going to be doing today. And so what I need to do here is I'm going to pull out some of this pilo moss. I'm going to pull it all out of the tank, and then we're going to bait the shrimp out, and then we're going to get the bad ones out. Now, on this time, I am only going after the ones that are really poor quality, because one of the best things you can do, I have found, to make the quality of your shrimp better is to take all the shrimp out and keep only the best ones. But I only do that every 6 months. I'm only going to do that every 6 months to a year. And so what we want to do here, I'm just going after the ones that are obviously bad, and I'll show you at the end what we do with those. So if you think you'd like some green jade shrimp and you're in the United States, you can check out my website, markshellyaquatics.com. I'll have a link to that in the description. But alright, let's get started on what we need to do here. Okay, so a little bit of background information. I started this tank as it is right now, probably about this is right around 4 months ago. And we're going to pull out this moss, and we're going to find out just how many shrimp we've got in here, the ages of them, and what kind of quality we're dealing with. And the ones we don't really like, we're going to call them. But that don't mean to kill them. That just means we're going to separate them from the rest. And I have a special tank I call a Skittles tank to put all those in. So I'm going to finish taking out this moss and see what we got to do. We got to be real careful to shake all these little shrimp off, because we don't want them. We don't want these shrimp to end up, we don't want loose shrimp ending up in the moss. We want to get all the shrimp out of the moss. So I'm going to work on getting that out, and I'll show you guys what's next. Okay, so one of the things you guys should know, for those who don't quite know yet, green is one of the hardest colors to get. It's one of the hardest to get when it comes to cherry shrimp. Now, I've had this line of greens for probably almost 4 years at this point, I would have to say. And these were already the best greens you could get anywhere. When I got them, I paid something like $15 a shrimp. So, and remember, we're not going after the right shades of green. We're not being that picky right now, but we're just looking for really bad ones. So I apologize. This tank location and the glare is really hard to get good shots with. But I started this tank about 4 months ago, I think I said, and I only started it with about a dozen shrimp. And we've got quite a few shrimp. So what I'm going to do now, this is one single algae wafer. We're going to put that in the tank right here in the middle. And then we're going to wait an hour, hour and a half, and look how fast they're already coming to it. This will attract them out in the open, out there in the wide open space. You look real close. There's lots and lots of little guys. And so I've bred these guys to be the darkest green you can get, the most consistent green color you can have. And now we're going to watch these guys. They're going to gather up. I'm going to check back in about an hour and a half or so. And then we'll have them all pretty much in the same zone, same area. And then we can go through and pick out ones that are clearly bad. So like one of the things we're looking for, some of them can end up being yellow, or like instead of a dark green, they can be like that, I don't know, puke colored green like that. And then there's one, some of them are so dark they're not green anymore, like this guy here. And some of them have irregular coloring, like that would be a pretty decent one. We like the green on that. Most of them are pretty good. There's one that's not really green anymore. There's another one that's not really green anymore. We're going to be after ones like that. So we're not being super picky at this point, but we're just going to get the ones that ain't quite there. Look at that little baby. So many. Man, getting good video of this tank is super hard. So I'm doing the best I can. That's what we're going for here. Come back in about an hour and a half. Okay, so I've got, most of these are light or super dark, almost black. There's the moss. And I've been picking them out as they gather. And I'm not saying I got all the really bad ones, but I got a lot of them. So I'm not being too picky right now like I was saying before, because here in a couple months I'm going to go through, pick out the very best ones, set those shrimp aside, take out all the other ones, put those in a different tank, and then we will be putting the very best ones in. So that's why I'm not super worried about it. I just wanted to get some obvious ones out, and sometimes the little ones, it's hard to tell for sure on their quality, so I try not to get out little ones that are real bad, because like I said, here in a couple months we'll be taking out all the really bad ones. There's one I missed, a couple in there, but I got several out. Got these ones out. So I'm going to put some of this moss in, maybe not all of it, but probably a lot of it. Put the moss back in. We got a good idea of what we're dealing with here at this colony. And if anyone here knows, oh, those guys are fighting for that chunk of algae wafer. Let's see if we can see another shrimp fight. Oh, he's trying to swim away with it, but it's too big for him to carry him off. He's trying. So if anyone, those guys who know about green jades, everyone, like I mentioned earlier, they are one of the hardest colors to get the breed true. But I started off with the best ones you could get about 4 years ago, and I've been working the line for 4 years. And when you think about it, only throwing in a dozen shrimp, and 4 months later you have probably close to 100, because there's still shrimp all up in there, bunches of babies we can't see, and we have a good mix of generations in here, and that's what you like to see. You still see quite a few buried ones, and that's super good too. So I'd say this colony is doing as good as we can expect. It's looking pretty dang good, I gotta say. So we're gonna put the moss back in, and I'll show you where these guys, the ones we're taking out, I'll show you where those guys are going. And so the tank stirred up a little bit, but we've got the moss back in that I ended up keeping. And so now most of the tank is clear. There's still a little bit I didn't pull out over here. You can see we still got lots of little babies. There's always some on, there's always a lot of shrimp on the sponge filters. And those guys are looking so good. I'm excited. Now let's go see what happens to the culls. This is the leftover moss. I'll keep that in here for now, for the time being. And when I pack orders on my website, markschleikproducts.com, this moss is available on there. So if you're interested in some super easy to grow moss and you're in the United States, there's that. And this is where the culls go. This is my Skittles tank. And so all the shrimp who, you know, they still come from my colonies, and I try to keep my colonies as good as possible. And these are the guys who just quinate, they're just not quite up to snuff. Like these guys are still pretty shrimp. They're just not quite good enough to be in their respective lines. And these are available on my website as well. And so what we're going to do now is put these guys to live in here now. And there's still some in here. They always want to, I'd rather stay in the dry. So they're going to go down in there, and they're going to live with all these other mixed shrimp. And this is a 40-gallon tank. There's thousands of shrimp in here. And they're looking super fun. There's a really good buried orange looking one. Sweet. Alright everyone, that was our journey on green cherry shrimp or green jade. If you're new to shrimp, again, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel, because I cover a few guppy stuff, but mostly it's all about raising, keeping and breeding cherry shrimp and all the different colors that they come in. So, and how to keep each color the best that you can. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.